Welcome to Champion Your Culture, the podcast, a weekly live show where we explore the power of culture and leadership in business. I'm Ryan McCarty.
And I'm George Rogers, and we go live every week to learn from each other and hear from other experts about how to effectively champion our team members and ourselves. So join us live every Wednesday on our social networks or subscribe. You can listen at Apple, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. Now, let's champion your culture.
Ta-da!
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back.
That's like that. What was that?
All I know is that it was from a song.
Welcome back, Cotter.
Is that what it
Welcome back, welcome back. Yeah, it was a teacher that had left the class for a while and then came back, I think.
It was before my time. I know that it was just, it was part of a song. When I don't even know the song that.
It's Welcome Back, Cotter. It's an old 70s show.
It's an old 70s show?
I think it's 70s, yeah.
Now, I think somebody, was it Nas? Somebody hip-hop like put it in one of their songs, really? Integrated into like a hip-hop song.
I'll have to look into
whatever it is. Anywho,
yeah.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for joining us again on Champion Your Culture, the podcast. Sponsored by Culture Good as always, and appreciate everybody joining us here, whether you're watching or listening to us live or on your choice of platform later. Ryan and I both appreciate you.
Talking about Mace?
Was it Mace?
I don't know.
I don't know. I have no clue. Welcome. Yeah, I don't even know if I'm singing it in the same, melody. I know it's not in the same key. 100%.
Turn on the volume on your phone. Let's see if this is what you're talking about. Can you hear that at all?
I can't.
Okay, never mind.
It's not there.
I think it's Mace. He's got a song called Welcome Back. I don't know.
It could be.
Maybe we'll play that next week as we intro in.
They probably want a couple of dollars for that or something like that. But they might try to pull us out. We're not there yet, man. We're still climbing and climbing and climbing. Listen, we need your help to grow this this network, this community of champions that are championing the culture in their workplace and organization and in life, just championing that thing. Absolutely. How are you doing, my friend? This is Check-In, Check-Up Part 2. I don't know if you ever had a checkup like where you had to go back to back because of something serious, or maybe you thought it was serious, or, because we're over 40, we got to get a series of checkups. The
reality is when one part of your body hurts, it impacts everything, which is a great metaphor for what we're talking about in terms of checking in with culture and with leaders. So there's the idea where, we can't say like, okay, just because that area of my body is messed up, I'll just leave that and I'll just focus on everything that feels good, because the one part that's painful, man, is going to change everything.
They made another song for that. My neck. My back. We'll stop it. Let's stop it right
Let's talk about the lower back, because I've convinced people now that people ask, where's your soul in your body? It's your heart, it's your brain, your consciousness. Yeah. I'm like, no, your soul is your lower back, and life wears on you and destroys your soul, and you feel it in your lower back. Yeah. It's right there. If your lower baback's hurting, it's your soul, man. That's right where it's at.
And that as I've gotten older and I've struggled. I got to be careful how I sneeze. Like I got to stretch before if I feel it sneeze.
Stretch before
I'm like holding it in, because man, if I'm to that place now in life where sneeze means I may pull a muscle in my back,
right?
Or, like there are certain things. So you're saying when I sneeze, I'm hurting my soul.
Right?
My soul is sick.
That you're getting old when you got to stretch before you sneeze, homie.
I got to stretch before a lot of things. Probably most things in my life that I'm now stretching. Like whatever you need me to do.
Yeah.
And if it involves lifting or movements, I got to stretch, man. As I've gotten older and wiser, I realize that my body needs preparation. And I ain't ashamed. There's no shame in my game that before I go do what I need to do, I'm
that's a transition though. You're about 5 years away from not stretching and just not doing it all and finding someone else and delegating it to someone else. Yeah. The best gift in the world that you can give yourself and your family if you're moving is to pay someone to pack you up.
100%. I worked extra to, as we moved from Nashville. But this past Saturday we got furniture. We ordered furniture. Nothing's ever in the store anymore.
Right.
You got to wait for it to deliver. So we've been back for a few weeks now. We got some fun. We got a couple of chairs, and we got a couple of lawn chairs and, sports baseball type chairs. And we got a table. We got a kitchen table and everything with chairs. I mean, we got eight chairs in our kitchen because we got.
So you just sit around the kitchen table and watch TV,
and we'll pull up those chairs to the living room or the front room, the family room, like wherever we need to, sit and function. If you put 2 of them side by side, it's a love seat. If you put 3 of them, and you got a couch, so we set it up, but we got our furniture delivered Saturday. Oh, okay. And so all is well in the Rogers home where we can have a front room, family room, it's all set. But I say that to say this: it costs extra for them to deliver it, set it up, unpack it. They took all the trash, everything.
But tell me that extra is worth every 100%.
Cent. I wouldn't move it. I'm at that place where I don't care what you got to say about me. Right. I ain't moving stuff. I mean, I told you last week we had Nikki, our friend, family friend. She came over and cleaned. It's not like we cannot clean. Right. But I'm used to moving, dude. I always failed sweeping the floor the other day. My back was gone. I kid you not.
I always heard that you work yourself out of a job.
That's smart stuff.
Right. So it's like, I mean, I've worked my back out of a job.
Yeah. I don't do that stuff anymore.
I actually ask people, will you need help moving? Yeah. When they say yes, I say, well, here's a few phone numbers for you to call.
And that's why he was not there, ladies and gentlemen. But he contributed to the couple of $100 that it took to get some packages.
By the way, speaking of dollars, I want to thank you because you stood by your word and supported Katara. And I know you didn't do it for recognition, but thank you for following through and helping her with her vision to bring out Exhale app and get that into people's hands. And then the survey that she has to be able to get that messaging out about the state of self-care for Black women specifically. And you contributing toward that and her being able to launch that survey at Newfields, and want to give a shout out to the museum there as well. Newfields, the art museum here in Indianapolis is phenomenal. And they opened up the space, and by your contribution and others, that has had a profound impact. We've had over 100 people download that survey and just getting that messaging out and the information for people to be able to have some knowledge around what is the state of self-care for Black women. So thank you.
No problem.
I'm going to give you some accolades.
Appreciate that. As you talk about that, to all the Black, brown people of color, and just people in general, I know I want to support it, but Katara, McCarty, app 2.0, Exhale 2.0 is out and doing some incredible things. She's there championing the people and women there in that area. So I didn't do it for recognition, and I had the opportunity to be able to drop off that check yesterday.
Thank you.
Just to you're only as good. What I've learned, one thing that's always stuck with me, Ryan, is that you're only as good as your word. People don't call upon you if they cannot depend upon you and your word. And so even if their word is hard to keep.
Yeah. I know.
You say something.
It's not easy.
Whether it's monetary or just serving, like, hey, Ryan, I'm going to show up and help you move. The reality is, as we just talked about, neither one of us is going to show up and help you move. Now, we may show up with $100 to get 2 hours of work from somebody. Right. I'll show up some way. But
exactly.
The word of the day, ladies and gentlemen, as we kick off this episode 61 is you're only as good as your word.
That's it.
All right. Man. Can people call upon your name in the time of need?
Well, that's a good check-in for a personal check-in too, as leaders thinking about integrity, man, that character. When I think about integrity, I think about this every time I hear it, I see this metaphor. I walk through what's that big department store that has all the furniture up here? IKEA. Yeah, I think
I've never been and I never want to go.
IKEA is Greek. It's a Greek word. Actually means hell. Because if
I don't want to go to hell.
Kidding. But IKEA had over time, I remember walking through the area where all the chairs were. Yeah. And they had one of the chairs they were trying to sell, and everything was glass around it or plexiglass. And then it had this motorized weight that would just sit on the chair, and just keep hitting the chair, hitting the chair, like the whole day for days and days and days.
For those of you who cannot see, Ryan is clapping his hands.
Clapping my hands.
That's what you're hearing.
So yeah, exactly.
People are listening like,
yeah, I know. I always forget. I've got a face for radio, face for podcasting, not for video. But so that weight just kept hitting the chair, and I was walking by. I think they actually used the word integrity in it, and the integrity isn't so much just doing what you say. That's a big part of it, but consistently doing what you say. So it's that consistent leadership, the value of what you're talking about. You value people's word.
Yeah.
And that is when you think about it, you don't just value it one time, but just much like that chair in IKEA.
Yeah.
The weight kept hitting that chair, and IKEA was trying to show, hey, when you buy this chair has integrity.
Yeah.
Like the actual legs of this chair are going to hold you up. Right. Like if it's like when you interact, it's not that it's perfect. It's not that, there's not mistakes that are made by leaders, but in the long term, if you're known for doing what you say and saying what you do, that's integrity.
Yeah.
Long term.
Yeah.
Good stuff, man.
Yeah. And the consistency part it goes into what we kicked off last week.
Yes.
As we talk about organizational culture, health diagnostic tool that we have, you can find it on culturegood.com/culture/diagnostic.
So say that again. So that's culturegood.com.
Culturegood.com. It's on the screen right now. You can check it out live on the screen.
If you're listening.
If you're listening to us, though, great job there. www.cultureofgood/culture-
yes.
diagnostic.
Well, make sure you put .com in there. So culturegood.com/culture-diagnostic.
Yep.
Perfect.
Or just give us a call.
Yeah.
Hit us up. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. We're everywhere.
All those good things.
Threads, and there's so many different things. TikTok.
I posted like there's 10
always
times
something
on
creative.
Threads or 12 times, and now I'm just like every once in a while I go back. It's just like, it
didn't catch.
Well, I mean, it I don't know, man. There's just too many.
You have commitment issues.
Well, not really. I'm committed to my current social stuff. It's I have a hard enough time posting on all of that, and then you have your personal, then you have the business, and
you have the business of the side business.
Anybody that's listening out there that you work in social media, I'm sure you feel that. I would imagine that someone that is posting all the time for business or businesses and the entities, when they get home, I would have a hard time getting on social, man, because it would be like it would feel like work to me.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I wonder if those that are professionals in the social media are actually in social media.
Right.
Yeah. I'd be like, if I were in social media for business and work, I wouldn't want to
do it as a person. Would it make it easier though? You can just schedule everything out. I mean, that's the thing.
That's get good at it, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or would you hire somebody to do yours?
Yeah, exactly. Well,
but I get it, man. You what you do for a living, like people, chef. I know people that cook for a living. When they come home, they don't cook. Their spouse cooks for them.
Well, exactly,
so
man.
Draining.
Exactly. When I was a pastor, when I went home, I didn't believe in any of it.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. I didn't live by any of it.
Oh man,
pastors, they talk about that, like the car mechanics.
Yeah,
the car mechanic in the neighborhood because their car's always breaking down. It's like
and they got everybody else's car there, and they're fixing everybody else's stuff.
Yeah, well, how in the world do you want to work on your own stuff? That's an interesting concept. I wonder how our work impacts our life. We always think about like life impacts work.
Well, let me ask you this: how's your culture at your workplace?
Well,
how's leadership development? How would you grade it?
Exactly. How would I grade it?
Yeah.
Leadership development.
That's what we do.
Yeah. Probably
people
not that good.
Know.
Well, I would say we're probably 3 out of 10.
Yeah. Alignment is not there. So let's get this ball rolling.
Yeah.
I'm interested in talking just a quick recap for those who may have missed last week, or maybe you're joining again. And as we're flowing through, just want to talk about the first 4 just real quickly.
Yeah. The 4 on the diagnostic in terms of the areas of the culture that if you take the diagnostic, you're not going to see these specifically, but you'll see them as you go through it. And that's what as a post survey, as you would fill it out, once you submit it, what we want to do is get together, maybe have a phone call, or if you're able to come to the office here, great, to be able to kind of unpack it with those that fill this out. So
so the number one was leadership and vision alignment. We talked a little bit about that as far as communicating the importance of that and really making sure that the company core values aligns with the actions and the decisions that are made of its leadership and things of that nature, and how the employees, we as employees, and when I say employees, we must understand the managers are employees as well. A lot of times, especially in the HR field, is like it's HR and then employees and then the C-suite in leadership. Like they feel like they're playing the tug of war. They're kind of an outsider of the group. And in all reality, if you're a leader, manager, director within your organization, you're still an employee. You just have a title that really brings a little bit more impact. And so all employees, all stakeholders, we just use that word, stakeholders. How does your work really contribute to the company as a whole and the vision and mission that your company has? Number 2 was employee engagement and empowerment. Really, the value there is that we've learned that it's not about what you do as a leader, it's about who you empower, how much you empower, not how much you do, but how much can you empower those on your team to really give them a growth, leadership development, professional development, both on the growth and development side, and really give them a sense of ownership of what they do, and then autonomy in their role, understanding their roles. We touched a little bit last week. I know in the future we'll talk about the RSVP stuff, but how that plays a role as well.
I think when we think about the mentality and having that ownership mentality, it's really having a leadership mentality. You know what I mean? Because there's owners that don't lead.
True.
So I think what we really want, we're saying an ownership mentality, but I don't know, man. I don't know if we want, but belief turns into behavior. So we don't want people thinking like an owner.
They own their culture. They own how they feel, believe, and behave.
And they own it by leading it. So it's really a leadership mentality, right? It's like what we talked about all the time.
Lead ownership. I know we like to throw words together. How do we put ownership and leadership together?
Leadership.
Lead ownership?
No.
You gotta combine the words.
Nah, just leadership.
Oh man.
Yeah. No.
I thought I had a moment.
Well, we could say leadership. Ship
leadership.
We'll figure it out. Maybe we'll throw that out sometime. But that's the idea. Is a leader is one who leads everyone, and a leadership culture is where everyone leads. And so the idea with what you're talking about in terms of engagement, what we're wanting is a culture of leadership where collectively we all feel, believe, and behave like leaders. That's the idea, right? So anyway, that was number 2.
Number 2. Number 3 is communication and transparency.
Yes.
Not hiding anything, but also protecting the thing, right? And so what we communicate, how we communicate, it's not what you say, it's how you say it at times. And bringing that transparency and the importance of transparency also breeds clarity among your team. You want your team to understand what they're seeing, why they're seeing what they're seeing, and the expectation.
That's the big thing when it comes to change. And all of our organizations are going through change. We talked about it last week. When you go through change, it's time for a checkup. If I start losing sleep or dealing with not being able to sleep at night, it's an indicator that I need to go. Qatar goes for damn near everything to the doctor. And,
you have insurance for it,
right? Why not? But for me, for me, I'm like, I'll deal with it. It'll be okay. And then it just, when you don't deal with things in the moment, they compound, and it becomes more than an issue. It becomes an actual sickness or infection sets in, and infection sets in because it moves from this hand over to this hand. And I'm clapping if you're listening. Again, I'm clapping. I do a lot of clapping.
That's the former pastor in on this.
Yeah. But that's the idea. Is the bringing together of those two. So it's like when we have the opportunity to create a culture of leadership, then that really shifts everything in the direction where people start to live that way. Yeah. Anyway.
That's good. And then we ended the episode with D&I. We talked a little bit about diversity, equity, and inclusion, because that obviously really connects to the health of your company and your organization, and impacts the culture of your company, and making sure that people feel, not just, we talked about this whole belonging thing, and it's always a part of it, but how do you, before you can belong, you got to be able to be connected to it.
Yeah.
And so how am I a part of, how am I going to connect myself to something that doesn't include me, that doesn't, respect me or accept me, or even, have me connected with that? And so organizations that don't just promote, because everybody can promote something.
Yeah.
Right. I promote this, but we don't use it. Right. We got a lot of influencers and
there's
promoters
like a
out there
lot
that,
of promotion.
Yeah.
Not just promoting like from one level to another level.
Right.
And we talk about that. Like, don't just promote. You can't promote people. You develop them. You empower them. Right. But then you think
that's
about
a good challenge there. That may be next week's podcast right there.
What's that?
The difference between promoting somebody and developing somebody. Right. When you develop somebody, that it's a natural transition. When you promote somebody, you just give them something that they haven't really earned or maybe developed.
It's a difference between.
I got a promotion today.
Yeah.
What did you do for that promotion? How are you prepared for that promotion?
Yeah. You basically put someone up into a position where they're set up to fail.
Yeah.
It's very much like putting training wheels on a small bike.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, safety wasn't as much of an issue for parents. Like we had lawn darts, man. You throw lawn darts, metal spikes into the, and so we had lawn darts. So people weren't thinking about, parents weren't as concerned about the safety of their children. So when you learned to ride a bike back then,
lawn darts. It reminds me of something else. New Year's Eve, we used to call them bullet darts, I guess, because we just shoot guns, and my cousins and
get
uncles
in the house,
shoot guns in the air, not realizing everything that goes up
must come down.
Yeah.
But when we,
I do not promote that, by the way, or develop.
But I remember as a kid, when you learned how to ride a bike as a kid, back when I was a kid, you would learn to ride it where the street was on one side, people's yards were on the other side, and you were on the sidewalk, and you got pushed. And it's like, if you're going to fall on the grass side, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's very much like training and development is so much like that, because when we think, or promotion and development, when we think about promotion without development, it's very much like throwing a kid on a bike and just pushing them down a hill and saying, try to keep your balance. And if you fall on the right side.
Yeah. It reminds me of my uncle throwing me in the pool for the first time.
Oh yeah.
Learning how to swim, like, just kick your legs. And I'm kicking my legs, but my legs are on the ground. Learning how to swim is a technique, man. And I think sometimes in workplace we do that. We push them on the bike, we throw them into a pool of who knows what and say swim.
Well, how are people within our culture, and this is going to lead into the next one, how are people gaining the opportunities as a team in terms of collaboration to be able to not just get thrown in a pool, but to learn how to swim?
Yeah. So number 5, as we kick off part 2 today of organizational culture health diagnostic tool. Again, you can find this on the website, www.culturegood.com. Number 5, collaboration and teamwork.
Yeah.
Dig into that a little bit for us.
Well, think about this. When we're talking about harmony or rhythm, each team member presents a different perspective, a different contribution. But collectively, if all of us know what we're contributing, if all of us have clarity around how to work together as a team in terms of the change that's happening, new initiatives that are going on, the more we build into the collaboration. That's a lot of companies have teamwork as a value. But in terms of how the culture is collaborating, or how we're creating environments where it's really teams are actually collaborating together. I love the culture of good as an opportunity to test and to grow team collaboration, because as teams, what we call our good, where teams go into the community in their neighborhood and do good together, serve together. Feeling again, back to the culture of feeling, belief, behavior. How connected and collaborative is the feeling of the culture overall.
Yeah.
Do people feel that collaboration, or does it feel disjointed and untogether? You know, we win together, right?
Yeah.
We never lose alone.
Never lose alone.
There you go, man. I mean,
Yeah.
that's really what it is. So cross-functional. So, you know, being able to learn what other people are doing, how they're contributing in terms of the entire organization is really helpful. So having that cross-functional collaboration and encouraging that, supporting it, and creating environments and experiences for teams to come together and do more than just like have some drinks at a bar afterwards, or go out to a paintball, you know, field and shoot each other with paintball guns. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? All that's fun stuff and that helps. But at the end of the day, can we really work together?
Yeah.
You know,
that's good. That's good. As we're going through these, Ryan, especially as I'm thinking of the first 4 that we shared last week, there a lot of these really intertwine. Like without this, you cannot have that.
Sure.
Right? If you don't have the cause and effect, if you don't have good leadership with vision, you know, what does collaboration and teamwork look like, right? There's got to be, when we talk about the health, and as Ryan said, what starts in one hand can lead to the other if you don't get it checked out. These things really have a domino effect. If one's not healthy and you don't check it out and get to the root of those issues, it's going to spread.
Right.
You know, first thing that came to my mind is cross-contamination.
Yeah.
But things tend to spread. And so
that's infection.
It's important for you to be healthy, and that's what we want to get you to as an individual, whether you're a leader, whether you're just an employee. You're not just what you are. You're part of something that is bigger than, right?
Yeah.
There's something that has a greater purpose. And so we want to encourage you, if you are not in a place to make a decision about some of these things that we talk about, reach out to us. We would love to kind of walk you or your leadership through it, because we believe it is important. Number 6, Ryan, as we talked about the collaboration and teamwork, adaptability and change management. Now, this piece is really important. Every time I look at change management, I think of our good friend Shannon Rose. And so, Shannon, we love you as we talk about this piece. And she's really helped me, and I know she's impacted you when it comes to change management as well. But that adaptability piece is important to me, because I've always been raised to define leadership as great leaders are able to adapt. Right. One of the qualities of leadership is adaptability. No matter what position you're put in, it's kind of like you don't want to put a wild animal in a corner, because they're going to adapt to their environment. Yeah. Right. And so leadership must be able to adapt. And in general, as you're developing to become a great leader, that adaptability piece is important as well, especially when you think also about change management and how we have embraced those opportunities, especially when there's growth, right?
Yeah.
And development on there. You want to talk a little bit about that as well?
I would say there is no adaptability without change management. Change management brings adaptability into it. Adaptability is the effect of change management.
Yeah.
Without change management, the organization, as the world is evolving, cannot change. Mm-hmm. So adaptability for each individual determines the adaptability of each team, determines the adaptability of the organization as a whole, right? Because we talk about self-team business. So if the business isn't adaptable, what we need to teach in terms of a skill set, leadership skill set on a team level and individual level, is what does adaptability look like? What does agility within the workplace look like? Do we see change happening as an opportunity for growth, or are we looking at change as something that's going to impact us all the time in a negative way?
Yeah.
Right? Is change positive? Like when we're talking about change in the workplace, is it going to provide us an opportunity to do something better? What is the purpose of the change? The concern that most frontline leaders or frontline employees have is, there's no clarity around the change, and that's a big piece of the change management. So yeah, Shannon, very good at teaching the ADCAR process, and we teach that as well. We'll be teaching that this week with LA Tour Group. Another shout out to them. We got
that's part of our conversation today in our leadership
It's going to be really great. Yeah.
And so are you enjoying North Carolina?
Great.
I've never been to Asheville.
So Asheville is an awesome city.
Yeah. So this is pretty cool. And I appreciate Terry and Scott taking care of us yesterday, the last couple of days since we've been in Monday.
Yeah.
So appreciate that.
Great stuff, but big shout out to them. And that's what we're teaching.
Yeah.
Because the principles of change management is how culture lives.
Yeah.
We talk about how culture is changing all the time. If we don't manage and lead that change, then the change is happening without our input, right? So the change is informing our decisions rather than our decisions informing the change.
Yeah.
So we're reactive rather than being proactive. Proactive means I may not be able to know all the change that's going to happen, but of the change that I do know, and as we're implementing things that are going to look different in the next year to 3 years within an organization, we want to make sure everybody's on point.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that people know what they need to know from the very beginning so that we're managing not the project side only, but also the people side.
Yeah. So then you're talking about, as we talk about on our leadership development workshops, is you, in order to do those things, you got to have the proper resources. You got to be able to train. It's not something you just pop up and throw in a case of emergency, right? That reactive nature where you're saying, all right, let's gather. What do we need? What do we need? No, it's having provided those resources in the forefront so that you can train. Hey, here are the resources.
Right.
This is how they apply. Right. This is how this change is going to happen. So having the proper resources and really training to move towards that change and development within the workplace is important as well.
I remember talking to a leader. Let's see, it's probably been, it's been a couple months ago. I think they had promoted someone that was always early to work, always stay a little bit later than everybody else. Great at their job, skilled at what they did, and promoted to middle management, frontline leadership. And within 6 months, they were fired.
Yeah.
Best employee, not a great leader. Yeah. Because leadership is grown, right? It's grown and it's shown.
Yeah.
It's an example, but also it has to be developed like the person themselves.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. The difference is, are we invested in our organization and our teams and our individuals in terms of as they're leading, do they have the resources, to your point, to be able to fully be equipped?
Yeah.
We talk about empowerment, but like we're promoting people thinking that promotion empowers people.
Yeah.
What empowers people is equipment.
Yeah.
What kind of tools do they have? What kind of skills do they have? What have they learned, and what knowledge do they have, and do they know how to apply it? That effectiveness, right?
Yeah.
So the adaptability is one of the top, I would say, concerns for organizations and leaders right now is my organization adaptable to the changes that it's going through? So it's a big one, man. It's a really big one. When people aren't willing to change, we heard about it years ago. Like the worst thing you want to hear is this is the way it's always been done.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you keep doing the same thing,
you're gonna get what you
get the same results.
Yeah.
And if you want change, you have to change.
Yeah.
Like if you want the organization to be adaptable, you as a leader have to be. You have to show that type of adaptability. I think I posted a video a couple weeks ago on our podcast where I was talking about that very thing, that as leaders, we have to be transformed.
Yeah.
We have to first be adaptable. We have to show that we're agile as well. We can't just be, this is how it's always going to be. The more we show that change is an opportunity for growth, the more people are going to embrace that idea.
Yeah. Is this a good moment? I got some things that kind of align as we're talking about this leadership.
Let's do that, and then we'll jump back to number 7.
I just want to share a couple of data pieces that I think is important, especially when it comes to, and I'll just kind of lay it out. When we're talking about, why are people leaving?
Yeah.
That employee retention turnover thing. There's a lot of things that kind of play a line. We talked about a few weeks ago how people don't lead, good companies, they lead bad leaders.
Yep.
And I explained how I've seen a lot of good leaders lose a lot of good people because the culture sucks. People are leaving bad cultures where they're not connected or anything. But I want to share some of these stats because I think it aligns with for those people who are happy with their current position.
Yeah.
The difference between those people who are happy with their current position versus those who are going to leave in the next 6 months. I want to share something. But as we said last week,
yes,
we have a new song.
Oh, we have a new segment.
We have a new segment
last week that we were going to bring this in. So
we went to the studio. A new segment. We went to the studio, baby.
Yeah, this is a new segment, and we're going to bring this in, and then this is brought to you by Culture Good and Lighthouse. This is their data coming in. So let's do what does the data say?
What does the data say? What does the data say? What does the data say? Data.
That's my favorite part. Data. So some of the data.
What does the data say?
Data. So this is hilarious. Some of the things that really stuck out with me, Ryan, in regards to those people who are happy versus those people who are going to leave in the next 6 months. So this poll.
So those that aren't leaving in the next 6 months are considered happier, more connected.
They're happy. They plan on staying with their company, right? Okay, so those people who are planning on staying with their company, they're happy with their company versus those people who says, you know what, I'm not satisfied. I'm discontent. I am already looking. Or currently will be looking in the next 6 months to leave my workplace. They're disengaged, right? They're checking the box.
Okay.
Because there's a huge number. I want to share, and I can share tons of these, but just some things that really kind of pointed out to me when it comes to this. People who are happier in comparison to those who plan on leaving in the next 6 months. Workplace culture at their company is functional, supportive. 77% of them agree. Those people who are happy, 77% of them versus 44% of them say workplace culture at our company is functional and supportive, meaning I'm connected with my leader. It's functional, it's working. I understand the expectation. Support. I feel the support. I understand my role in that responsibility and expectations and things of that nature. People who are planning on leaving in the next 6 months, only 44% of them says, yeah.
Gotcha.
It works.
Yeah.
So there's a huge gap there, 33% difference between those who are connected and those who are disconnected from the forefront. Another one that stood out to me as we're talking about leadership, in particular managers and things of that nature, when it came to managers who helps and supports them to perform their best. And as we talk about the whole adaptability and change management, it's one thing as a leader to know and know the expectation, right? Know what you're going to be evaluated on, knowing the expectation of that new role that you may have been promoted to, knowing all those things is just as important, right? Because you don't want to be blindsided. I didn't know I was going to be evaluated. How many times have you heard that? Where an employee gets fired, it's like, I didn't even know I was being evaluated that way. That was not part of the expectation that I understood, right?
Yeah.
And so literally 2 times more likely, those people who are happy with their job are 2 times more likely to say their manager supports them and helps them perform at their best. 2 times.
Yeah.
Difference, right?
Yeah.
Something else is literally 2 times. So this we'll call this the 2 times, right? Twice as many to say I feel appreciated on a regular basis for my contributions for my company.
I feel what?
I feel appreciated. I feel appreciated. If you're happy with your job, you're currently planning on staying, no desire to leave in the next 6 months, you're 2 times more likely to say that you feel appreciated on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Right. That's a connection. That's a communication. That's that value there. Again, my company frequently provides opportunity. Again, I shared this last week, I believe, about the recognition and appreciation for their work. Literally 2 times more likely to say when I'm happy in my work that I have that sense of appreciation and recognition. Like it's there. I can see it. And the important thing about this is that I understand how you want to be recognized, George and Ryan, right? Compared to Sarah and Jen over here.
Yeah.
They want to be recognized differently. We may, I'm not a spotlight type of guy, and it sounds weird, but I want to be recognized amongst my peers. And so it's not what you do, it's how you do it. Like a small huddle recognition, that's great. Put me on a stage in front of thousands of people in the company, I really don't have time for that. Like, I'm humbled by that, and I'm grateful for the opportunity, but it's the stage, right? Don't do it in front of thousands of people, but if you want to do it amongst the
and
small
I'm different. I want it in front of thousands.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's fine. But understanding how you're,
I want everybody
that's
to know.
Important to understanding. I understand.
I'm the
all
guy
people
that if
on my
I
team.
accomplish anything, I'm posting it on social media. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if we do anything good, it's like I want everybody to know it, you know? And some of that's ego and some of it's just how you like, to your point, how you like to be recognized, you know? So.
And everybody's different. The last one I'll share on this is in terms of employee turnover. When you're trying to get your retention in order and trying to figure out why are people leaving and you feel like you got good leadership, this is all part of the health diagnostic tool that we walk you through. When people are happy in their job, again, 2 times more likely to say my manager supports work life. The word in here is balance.
Right, sure.
We say rhythm, because there's no balance to work or life. It's 1 week you're working 50 hours.
Certainly not together.
Some weeks, there's 30 hours, and then it depends on what's going on in your life. You may not work at all that week because you're dealing with crap. But you're 2 times more likely when you're happy with your job and you're loving
where there's a connection, where it doesn't feel, the difference is it's not looking for a work-life balance, but it's saying, I don't want my work and life to be in conflict. A work-life rhythm is a life that your work is not in conflict with your life. It's difficult to really love life when you feel like your work is in conflict with it, or to love your work when your life is in conflict with it. So as long as your work and life aren't in conflict, then you're finding rhythm. I just want to add that in there because a lot of times people don't understand what even a work-life rhythm looks like. Because to your point, it's all over the place. And I would say the goal is always to not be in conflict, because then that's internal. So when you're at work, you're thinking about home and all that's going on there. When you're at home, all you do is think about work. That's not a rhythm. That's an imbalance. Right.
Yeah. And so all this data, the links, you can see the link right now. You can find it at Lighthouse Research and Advisory, LHRA.io. You'll be able to go there /research. If you want to go there, you'll sign up, get your information, you'll be able to get it. But all this data is from our new piece. I'm an acronym junkie, and I'm Ben Eubanks is a data junkie. So you get acronym and data, you get peace. In your life. And so P stands for performance, engagement, and culture enablement. And a lot of this is found in there. The last piece I want to share in this data as we close to the final one, I think this one in these are all important, but I know this is really how everything really connects. This is kind of the seal on the pavement, right? That it keeps the cracks from going out. When we talk about functional and dysfunctional cultures, right? Functional cultures are where employees have that support, that sense of belonging, and they feel appreciated for their work. There's a connection there directly tied to their leadership. When it comes to functional and dysfunctional, things that really separate, they're really kind of align here, especially number 4. We talked about DEI as number 4. When there is functional culture, 3 times more likely versus a dysfunctional culture to say my company values diversity and makes everyone feel included, and a D&I portion of it. So when you talk about a dysfunctional culture, you're saying, you know what, there's some people within our organization that don't feel supported at all, right? Whether it's age, whether it's a gender, whether it's a race, ethnicity, there's a connection. When you have a supportive and functional culture, 91% say my company values diversity and makes everyone feel included in the workplace, versus those who says my company is unsupportive and dysfunctional, only 31%. That's a huge gap when you talk about I love program versus strategy. Are you adding an in? There's a separation there, Ryan, that truly just kind of blows my mind. And there's so many different data points that we can talk about that when it comes to these things where when we talk about evaluations and adaptability, we talk about the collaboration, the teamwork. Performance reviews are mainly about proving what I've done. Versus not improving my performance in the future.
So for people listening, what you're saying is that most performance reviews, what employees are saying, is that what performance reviews are focused on is what they've done or didn't do versus what they're going to do
future
or contribute. And that's the biggest thing. And if we're always focused on what has happened, now we need to address things, and we need to know where we've been. The only reason that we know where we've been, or to focus on where we've been, is to say, and this is where we are now, and this is where we want to be. Now, how do we get there? And I think I think shifting the focus in a performance review from having some of those elements of how is this working, what's been good, what hasn't worked, but showing support through that, where we're not just bringing up okay, this didn't work well, the whole is it green, yellow, or red on your chart, your KPIs, and are you hitting the mark? And you sit down with your leader and they're just like talking about how there's far more red than there is green, and how do we get from, but then the question has to be now not just pinpointing or pointing out all the things that you didn't do, but say, okay, how do we now make this red yellow, or how do we make this yellow green, right? How do we focus on the future? I think that's a powerful thing as well.
So absolutely, just huge difference there. Just want to share that research as we get into the last piece, Ryan. And that piece is number 7, purpose-driven engagement. We're always talking about purpose and how it really aligns, but we everything is about what you do. This really brings into why.
Well, that's it, right? What is the why? I always say that the reason that the first rule of business is to stay in business. Mm-hmm. But the second part of that rule is to know why you're in business in the first place. The purpose is the purpose of the organization not only stated clearly, but do people know it? Yeah. When we talk about having an understanding of what I'm doing every single day, in what you mentioned about being a part of something bigger than yourself. If I'm an individual going into work and all I'm thinking about is my task list and I'm get behind my desk and I do my work and then I bounce, then I'm missing the overall sense of belonging, connection, all that we've been talking about, but also the purpose of the organization. Yeah. Because I'm just focused on just doing. And if there's not clarity around purpose of the organization, then there's lack of clarity of purpose for teams. And then there's lack of purpose for individuals. And where there's a lack of purpose, people run wild. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Where there's not clarity, people make up their own stories. Right. When I can't see what the vision is, I have to make one up. Yeah. If I don't know what the purpose is, I make up my own purpose. Right. And then what we have is just a bunch of team members that are showing up for a paycheck because that's the only purpose they see. Yeah. And I'll be honest with you, most employees, when they leave work, if you were to ask them driving down the street, would it hurt your feelings if you never came back here? Yeah. What, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Most people would say, nah, I don't really care about this place. Yeah. What they're really saying is, I don't care about these people. Yeah. Because business and work and all of it's not about a place. Yeah. But if we've made it about the place, if leadership has made it about the place, then we're not focused on rehumanizing the business. And this part of it, this purpose-driven engagement, is all about rehumanizing business, right? The human, that business is an organism. It's not an organization only. It's alive, it's breathing, it's people, it feels, right? And if we can connect with people with the purpose, then we're paying people with more than a paycheck. Yeah. We're saying, yes, we're going to pay you and we're going to pay you well. Yeah. Because again, people aren't going to leave sad. You know what I'm saying? And they show up for a paycheck. That's why people come. But beyond the paycheck, what's beyond the paycheck? This idea of purpose driven type work is lived out by seeing the leadership and the organization making decisions and choices that are consistently aligned with the stated purpose of the organization. Yeah. So how are we making decisions? Does it support the purpose of the organization? Or are we just, again, having a purpose written on the side of the wall? We are here for blah, blah, blah. When the truth is, if the real stated purpose of the organization for many of us were being stated on a wall, it would look like this. We are here to make a lot of money. Yeah. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But what else?
And the thing about money, Ryan, as I've gotten older and I've made and lost it all, right? I've had negative in the bank account and screenshot it, and I've had thousands in the bank account and screenshotted it. And the thing that matters the most is that it all disappears. Like it comes and goes. Money never really gave me fulfillment. Yeah. And that's why we see millionaires and billionaires not find happiness with what they gain, because it's not, fulfillment is not in monetary things. Now, monetary things can provide happiness.
Absolutely, man.
But when it comes to fulfillment, it's something greater than that.
Yeah.
And that's where that purpose-driven engagement really, really drives from, is that, as Ryan said, we obviously work to get a check and provide for our families.
That's why we show up.
That's why we show up. But why we stay is that this place has now given me a sense of fulfillment that goes beyond what I make. And it's not necessarily what I can take, but it's how I can bring value to something greater than myself, right? That's where we get in that word. When I think about legacy now, it's not about how much money and things that I'm gonna leave for the next generation. My legacy is really, how have I left fulfillment, not just in myself, but for others, right? That leaves a life that never dies. There's a lot of things when I go are going to die. It's going to shut down. One of the greatest things that was said to me in this month, Ryan, just last week, and I didn't cry there, but man, when I went to my room, it hit me hard. And we had several people say this since we moved back to Indiana. Says, two things happen. Does that mean Fight Night is happening? Right. We haven't UFC, because UFC. Okay.
I thought you meant a real fight club.
We can do that too.
To throw down.
Yeah, we can do that too. I got a bigger yard now, so we can pop up a ring.
Backyard
But
brawls.
It was just an opportunity where literally 20, 30 people in my house, and at the time the house I had couldn't fit 23, but we were in every room, man. It was just, we just want to connect with people, and just a place for you to be you. There ain't nothing in the worries in the world. It's just all about having a good time and just connecting. So it was fight nights, and everybody, Jim said, we're glad you're back. One thing that really, really stuck out with me, it was multiple people. And that's when I knew, what my purpose is. Championing my purpose is championing people and leading people. So that they can have a life of fulfillment. Right. And multiple people saying just that. I'm glad you're back, because now I'll be able to, we'll be able to have fight nights. And it's about having people around you. And the thing that you provide, George, is X, right? Man, that gave me a sense of completion, not necessarily completion where it's done, like I'm finished, but if something were to happen to me over those last couple of days where I was gone from the face of this earth, like I will be at peace with the life that I live just by some of those words that people saying. And so when I think about purpose-driven engagement, and I want to challenge businesses and organizations, leaders out there apart. If your company was to fold today, think about it this way. If life is there, the only thing certain about life is uncertainty.
Change.
Right? Change. But if your business organization was to close forever, purpose-driven engagement, would you be fulfilled on the legacy you'll leave behind? Because obviously, as you say, we're all about money and driving business and profit, and we're for profit, right? Or for people in some organizations. Right? I love Scott Moorhead's heart. Yeah, you got to be for both.
Because again, the first rule of business is
stay in business.
I mean, we are here to make money. But also make an impact. Like that's the idea with the purpose side of things, of knowing that, yes, I can make a paycheck. So if I'm an owner, yes, I can make an impact through my business. If I'm an individual, I can make an impact through my team. I can make an impact through my contribution, right? But as we think about that, we have to start from a place where we understand that the purpose of the organization is the motivator many times, whether people show up or whether they keep showing up. I'll show up for a paycheck, but I'll keep showing up for purpose. Like that is the stickiness of business. And it's not that we want to just like hold everybody and hoard everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like last week you talked about, we want to raise people up to a point where they may go out and accomplish greater things outside of our business, but they grew, as a part, like we developed them. We focused on these areas of the business that we have the diagnostic now on our website, and we at least considered these things. We asked the questions, not only of ourselves, but also of our team and our team members, like, where do you feel like this is at? And that's a key thing. And I think we can use this diagnostic tool, not just as an individual or leader to jump on yourself, but if you want to implement this within your organization, let us know, and we can send the survey and to you, and you can develop your team along with that as well. So it's a great diagnostic tool. We can unpack it with your team as well. But George, I think at the end of the day, what we have to do, again, we just keep coming back to this week after week. We have to know that we're not managing a project here.
Yeah.
Like, we're leading people. And that piece of what we talk about all the time, I think, is the key in all of this, to be able to say, all right, the check-in ensures that people aren't checking out, right?
Yeah.
We're checking in, we're making sure that we have a checkup, so people don't check out, but we have to have those regular check-ins, and how are we checking in with our people? And that piece of it right there is really key. So I love this convo, man.
Yeah, this can go on and on. I want to encourage everybody to make sure that you are checking in with your people, and simple ways of doing that as well, especially with your team, whether it's regular one-on-ones, whether it's huddles, team meetings, whether it's surveys and feedbacks and things of that nature. There's ways that, again, know your people, know how they communicate, because George may not speak in a group, but George will speak a lot, one-on-one in the smaller. And so make sure you're doing those things, and having those check-in meetings are vital and important. Also, make sure you check out everything that we've talked about with our diagnostic tool. Again, you can go to www.cultureofgood.com/culture-diagnostics, and you'll find a lot of these things, like we said as well. We've given you the 7. Again, those are leadership and vision alignment. Number 2, employee engagement and empowerment. Number 3, communication and transparency. Number 4, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Number 5, collaboration and teamwork. Number 6, adaptability and change management. And number 7, purpose-driven engagement. As we said, and Ryan clearly said earlier today, you won't see these 7 as you're taking it on the website, but these are implemented on the background. This is how we'll be able to follow up with you. If you take this test, you'll get a call from myself or Ryan, or maybe if you're lucky, you might get both of us to kind of walk you through, hey, these are the findings, and this is where we encourage you to kind of focus on. And if you want more support beyond that, you can talk to Ryan or myself, and we would love to champion you. As you champion your culture.
I mean, that's the biggest thing. Every leader needs a leader. Every leader's led. And if you're not leadable, then you're not a great leader, and that's a big piece of it too. We have to be able to say, all right, it's not perfect. What I'm doing, or the team, or the organization, or maybe me individually, this area needs work. That's the whole point. The point of a checkup is not to prove what's right. The point of a checkup is to say, are there any what are your symptoms? What are you seeing? What are you feeling? And being able to capture that and talk to an expert about, like a doctor, like we talked about, like what do these findings say? And what do I need to do? Do I need to start eating this? Do I need to stop eating that? Right? Do I need to start meeting this way at work? And do I need to change those meetings? When I'm coaching leaders, a lot of times they're like, oh, I didn't even realize that. I need to cut off those meetings. I had a leader, he had 18 direct reports, and he was meeting with every single one of them, like on a weekly basis. And I'm like, that's nuts, man.
Some meetings don't need to be meetings; they just need to be emails.
And so he checked in with me about it, right? And when I heard about it, I was like, okay, that's not a good use of your time. Can we find another way? And he was able to find another way to meet with the 18, but to do it in segments, scheduled with strategy, and had those meetings strategically aligned, and it saved him, I don't know how many hours a week. You know what I'm saying?
I only imagine.
So those are the kind of things that, we're advancing, we're growing and progressing, but we have to be willing to change ourselves. So just want to encourage everyone out there, stay adaptable, stay agile. Things are changing. It's going to keep changing. We don't know what the next 3 months look like for work. So just stay in a position and an attitude of saying, you know what, I'm a leader. I'm going to raise up leaders. All of us are going to lead together.
I appreciate it, Ryan. This has been a great episode again on Champion Your Culture, the podcast sponsored by Culture Good. We hope today that you have found something that has impacted you, that you can take back to your workplace and or your life and apply it and be blessed by it. We got some responsibilities and some duties to do. We got a job to do here in a little bit. Ryan, as always, my friend.
Got to jump off.
I'm glad that you have joined me today. and we were able to take our setup on the road.
Yeah, exactly. The whole office.
Yeah.
Good to see everybody here on Champion Your Culture this week on Wipe It Wednesdays. And I'm not going to say what that's from. You're going to have to listen to episode 60.
Yep.
That's just what it is. Wipe It Wednesdays. Glad you met us here for Wipe It Wednesday on Champion Your Culture. Now, seriously, we're sending love out to all of you, and we will see you back here next week on Champion Your
Culture.
Hi, friends. Thanks for joining us on Champion Your Culture podcast today.
We're so excited that you're here and want to invite you to connect with us. You can watch the show weekly on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, or LinkedIn, and listen anywhere you get podcasts.
Subscribe today to get new relevant content each week on how to champion yourself and your team. Thanks again for listening to Champion Your Culture.